It has been 5 years since I became totally independent. In plain words, it was July 2015. In this video, I am going to reflect on the good times, the struggles, frustrations, the fears, etc. While I am not going to focus on why I became independent all of a sudden, I am going to say that one facet of it was that I was expressing my own thoughts and beliefs about certain topics which individuals didn't agree with, including the fact that I had just joined Mormonism about 3 months earlier. I come from a very conservative background which can speak for itself. Certain individuals were also trying to micromanage my digital footprint. To be frank, I was terrified. Although I had ways to get my food, I would solely rely on a certain individual to do my weekly shopping. Then all of a sudden, I was supposed to find a suitable substitute for this. Now I would be remiss not to say, I am extremely grateful to this individual for helping me for over a year. Thankfully, my bishop or leader within the Mormon church stepped up and helped me, not only with shopping but with other aspects of life over the years. For the next couple months, I immersed myself in Mormonism by attending every event possible. I even began planning on serving a service mission in Salt Lake City, Utah. For those who don't know, a mission of any kind is a rite of passage within the Mormon Church. On rare occasions, someone would suggest we do something non-church related. This included this glow stick paint party. Unfortunately, this led to me clashing with friends about being able to attend. Certain individuals were against me going and I thought the opposite. This all stemmed from what people thought I could handle, something that has never set well with me. Ultimately, I went, and had a blast. I probably enjoyed it more than my friends. This was the first time I had an energy drink. In early November, the mission president at the time gave me the great honor of giving a speech about my life's journey. At first, I was hesitant because I knew certain individuals would not be happy with my truth. After much persuasion, I finally agreed to give the speech. Let me just say this speech was a critical moment in my life because I put into words my truth concerning my childhood. I was taking control of the narrative. So, in early December, I went up to the Raleigh area to give this speech to the North Carolina Raleigh mission. This was a 2-day event in which I effectively became a missionary. It was a blast to say the least. My 2 missionary buddies and I were privileged enough to sleep in the mission house. I got to see all my missionary friends who served in Wilmington for a certain amount of time before getting orders to serve in another area of the mission. This included a missionary whom I had really connected with during the spring of that year. The day before this missionary left Wilmington in June of that year, he and his companion stopped by to say bye. It was during this visit that he pointed to a GED study book on my desk and urged me to better myself by getting my GED. Although I had the book for a year prior, I didn't have the will or self-esteem to go through with it. This was in part due to being belittled on multiple occasions years prior and told I wasn't capable of taking the GED and I had a 5th grade level education. So, by early 2016, I had jumped through the hoops of getting approved for accommodations for the GED. This included having my sister go with me and get a doctor to write a note saying that I had cerebral palsy and I required more time. This only had to happen because for some bizarre reason the doctor wouldn't write the request a month earlier when I went for a physical and asked him myself. In mid-February, I took the first portion of the GED exam. Over the next month and a half, I would take the other 3 portions. On the 6th of April, I completed and passed the last portion of the GED exam. Meanwhile though, that mission trip was not looking so promising. I had planned on leaving that April when I had received my endowment. An endowment is a ritual done within the temples. Ultimately I never got my endowment and never went on that mission trip. In summary, I sniffed out some lies from the leadership and they didn't like it. Essentially, I refused to drink the Kool-Aid. In reality, I just wanted the truth. They thought withholding information would somehow help me stay in the church. I have always had my questions about Christianity. Like any kid, I had to embrace the life philosophy I was raised in. Mormonism was just my stepping stone to becoming less religious. Around this time, a very powerful poem popped up in my YouTube channel newsfeed by a guy named Tanner. I will play a little portion of it.
The problem is every religion's the same. They all proclaim to speak in the name of God. They tell you you can pray and know if it's true, and that's exactly what they do. It works for them too. It's arrogant to think that they are deceived in what they believed and that they should leave their religion behind and come into mine as if I had exclusive access to the divine. You tell me to doubt my doubts before I doubt my beliefs. You say focus on milk. I say where is the beef? You think saying I know will help me revive, but 2 + 2 will never be 5. It's easy for you to tell me I'm wrong when you're too scared to even go where I've gone. Trust me, it's hard to choose to see. There's still a hole in my soul where God used to be, and though it hurts like hell, truth is the key that fills it and turns it and opens the door for me to be free. Free from the need to be superstitious, free from a book that's proven fictitious, free from the mandates of a religious official regardless of title or middle initial, free to accept my best friend who's gay without having to judge him for living that way, free to serve others within my community without looking at them like a missionary opportunity, free to follow facts and not fairy tales, free from believing the priesthoods for males, free to live without constant fear that it's all going to hell because the end is near, free to love others just 'cause I can, and not because of some ancient command.
This so resonated with me because people in my conservative circles had been telling me that Mormonism and the world were evil and stuff, while my Mormon friends were telling me that my conservative friends and the rest of the world were lost and needed God. Despite the religion or rituals practiced by it, their underlying messages are the same. Once I realized the mission trip was not going to work out, I wanted to see if I could get a job. So, I started the long and very frustrating process of getting approved by vocational rehab just so that I could see a job coach. A process which took months. Then finally in October of 2016, I finally had my intake at the agency. This started me on a 1.5-year journey to find a job that wasn't too low level but one that I could do. This job also needed to be within a certain radius of my place. I literally got one interview at a Food Lion out on Carolina Beach Road. Not too ideal just because of transportation purposes. For the next 2 years, I dipped in and out of Mormonism mainly because I wanted a community of people. It never happened because with these kind of groups there is this inner circle and then an outer circle, and if you don't behave exactly like them, you're pretty much banished to the outer circle. The outer circle being official meetings and such. However, at these official meetings, conversations would entail inside jokes and references to the unofficial meetings and such. I would feel lost and left out. On rare occasions, I was invited to the informal gatherings, usually on the whim. Multiple times, I would overhear the person giving me a ride say, "Oh, let me drop Michael off and then I will be right over." In April of 2017, I got a threat of a defamation lawsuit by a certain individual because of the speech I gave to the missionaries in 2015. I had recorded it and put it on my YouTube channel at the time, although I have deleted it. To this day I stand by what I said in that speech, and one day I'll find a way to publish my autobiography, which I am working on right now. This individual was not implicated in this speech but claimed to have authority to speak on someone else's behalf. Now my autobiography won't be revenge but rather my truth. If someone doesn't like it, then maybe they need to do some soul searching. It's part of who I am as a person. In May 2017, I took my first trip by plane. I went out to Salt Lake City to visit missionary friends. Most of that trip was spent touring the headquarters of Mormonism. However, I did see many of my missionary friends. I attended a wedding, or at least the reception, because the actual wedding was done inside their temple and you have to have your endowment in order to attend. My favorite activity on this trip was riding a motorcycle with my friend. We had not planned it beforehand. My other friend whom I was staying with had an open Jeep, which was also pretty cool. September of 2017. I became friends with my first YouTuber who was gay. I started supporting him on Patreon. I loved our once-a-month conversations on Skype. At the time and even today, the LGBT community in Wilmington is scarcely visible. Not too surprising though, considering how many churches are in Wilmington. Add to the fact that I have a disability, which in the LGBT community it's seen as a non-starter for the most part. There are exceptions, mainly older men who just want to fuck. Something I didn't and don't understand. Eventually, this friendship led me to becoming friends with a number of other YouTubers. Since then we have done several live streams. I am extremely grateful for these YouTubers because they normalized being gay through their online content, thus helping me come to terms with the fact that I am gay. Near the end of 2017, the job coach finally decided to help me pursue public speaking, although it was not in the approved category. I did get a few gigs over the next few months. Early 2018. I was frankly fed up with the bullshit of the job coach agencies and vocational rehab. While I'm grateful for the job agency for helping me learn how to ride the bus and for trying the public speaking route, though that never had a chance, I was sick of the sometimes weeks where I would not hear from them. This is just a system failure, not the proper resources and overload in cases. One time a job coach wanted to switch me to another job coach, so the new job coach wanted to do another intake assessment on me. I am like, what the heck? Turns out the other job coach did not even write up an assessment to put in my file. I felt like I was metaphorically stuck in the mud. In early 2018, I decided to pull the plug on finding a job and go to college. At first I wanted to go straight to UNCW, but the rules said I needed to go to Cape Fear first. I spent the first half of the year getting all the administrative stuff out of the way. In March of 2018, I would unknowingly be launching my running career with the Miracle League Motion 5K. Really, my friend's challenge at the end of the 5K set me up for the 10K in August. In July of 2018, and after spending a whole year jumping through loops because a certain individual would not give me my own birth certificate so that I could get my passport, I was off to Calgary, Canada with passport in hand. I had a blast that week. I was able to see gorgeous views, go rock rappelling, and enjoy myself. In August of 2018, I attempted my first 10K on Bald Head Island. I didn't have a plan to keep running after that, but what happened the day after the race really lured me into racing. You see, the race director casually said, "Hey, we need to get you some new shoes." At the time, I thought, well, he means well, but it's just hot air. I know that sounds shitty, but that right there is my reality most of the time. So imagine when a mutual friend texted me the next day and said, "Oh, our friend arranged for you to pick up shoes from Fleet." So for me, running is about seeing people as much as it's about the actual races. In mid-August, I started at Cape Fear as a full-time student, something I was again told I was not capable of many times. Over the next year, I would finish full-time semesters with straight A's. I would even be nominated for a prestigious award and for an acknowledgement. I continued participating in 5Ks over that year. On top of that, I had to ride the bus 2+ hours a day for 5 days a week. At some point during this year, I started to watch Overflow online. In December 2018, I was able to go to Arizona for a week. While there, I got to see the Grand Canyon, experienced riding RV through the desert, among other things. Despite this though, I really wanted friends. Yeah, I was doing wonderfully in terms of classes, but was yearning for friendships. In attempt to find a community, I reached out to the athletic department at Cape Fear. Although they did try, I will never be 100% satisfied with how I was treated by the staff. In a sense, this created the atmosphere. I feel like I got the bare minimum, which in the end led to many hey friends at college during my second year at Cape Fear. I am grateful for the few individuals that did and still talk to me. You know who you are. I did make a friend windsurfing in 2019, which provided some things to do in the fall and early 2020. I really enjoyed these outings. Played pool for the first time. Went camping in the freezing cold. Went go-karting. Chopped wood, etc. I also met someone at college in the fall of 2019, which enabled me to attend Overflow in person. I thought that would provide me with meaningful friendships. Although a few people talked to me here and there, for the most part they became what I call event friends. This leads to my current situation. Mostly stuck in my apartment and for the most part friendless in terms of people to hang out with, and hoping I can plan a trip soon. I had a local news station feature a story about my running in November 2019. Now this is just an abbreviated version of these past 5 years. While in many aspects, I have been privileged in terms of what I have gotten to do in the past 5 years. It didn't come easily. I literally had to advocate for everything that I have achieved. Now I fully admit that sometimes my advocacy drives people away. For that I am sorry. There are some things that infuriate me, especially in 2020. In closing, would I change the decisions that were made these past 5 years? No, I would not, because overall these past 5 years have been incredible and exciting. We can't experience the mountain tops without experiencing the valleys. While I had some amazing breakthroughs and experiences, I have also low points, especially regarding the social aspects of my life. 5 years ago I wouldn't have imagined some of the stuff that I have done. I am looking forward to what the next 5 years hold. I am looking forward to walking across that stage to receive my bachelor's in a little over 2 years. In doing so, I will be giving all the naysayers the metaphorical middle finger. Before then, I am itching to plan a trip, run more races, etc. Finally, if you are going through a hard time, just know that your breakthrough, though it may be temporary, is coming. Savor the breakthrough when it comes, because it unfortunately won't last, but that's part of life.